my biggest issue right now is that trying to date in this newfound issue that I can't breathe when I'm sleeping, that I need a CPAP, is so ugly. So ugly that I don't want to invite people over because I don't want to put the CPAP on my face.
Let me give you one data point. My friend is like a really hot go-go dancer, OnlyFans person, really, really like objectively hot person who can make money from how hot he is. He's dating this guy, and once in every few weeks, he would just post a photo of his partner sleeping with a CPAP. Where'd you go? Can you hear me? Where did you fucking go? Where'd you go?
Who wants to date this person? Who wants to date this person? I am Bane from Batman. I am Bane from Batman.
Literally Gaysian.
Literally Gaysian. Welcome back to Literally Gaysians.
The Slasian podcast of California.
of the inner tri-state area of California. We're the most popular of a particular area.
The middle class, not middle class. I guess middle class. The middle-aged Slasian podcast of Los Angeles.
And it's our season finale part 2. So not really the last one we said it was the season finale, but this is really it.
The actual season finale. If you haven't listened to part 1, you should probably go back and start there. We invited my boyfriend on, and we got to know him a little bit, and then he surprised us with a game.
He tested our friendship, and well, I want to say I did poorly, but to my excitement, we both did poorly.
Terribly. And it ended up in a tie. So who will win the game? We'll find out.
Yeah, because I actually don't remember who won the game, because let me apologize in advance. As you listen to it, you might hear me start slurring as I get drunker through the episode. I browned out, and I don't know what happened. I think all I remember was recording, and then I woke up in my bed like 2 hours later. I didn't remember saying bye to you. I just was asleep.
You recorded full on nearly 3 hours of content for this podcast, and I knew you didn't remember because I had texted you like, should we bleep out when you bring up and we'll bleep that out again, and you're like, when did we bring up So to catch everyone up and to catch Don'tcha up, because he doesn't remember it, in the last episode we played this game. It ended up in a tie, and we're about to enter into a sudden death tiebreaker.
And afterwards, we actually finally get to your listener mailbag, where we'll give you advice, not necessarily good ones, on what's going on in your lives.
And then we're going to top it off with one last Be Real for the season.
So let's get into it.
All right. So for this tiebreaker, what we're going to do is I'm going to give you the situations that your listeners submitted that they need advice on. And then I, a completely objective third-party observer with no personal interest in this matter, will score your advice. Whoever gives the better advice will win. Okay? You'll each get a different scenario.
All right. Shout out to Eric for advices. Let's go.
All right.
Yes, advices section.
We'll start with Bao, okay? I'll be the proxy for the listener. Hey, Bao. So a friend is falling into an unhealthy cycle of breaking up with this trash person and then getting back together and breaking up, etc. I'm their most supportive friend and try to be there for them, but it's draining being there for them every time and seeing them just go back to the bad relationship, just to have them cry to me every time they break up again. The person they're seeing isn't physically abusive, but is just a loser by my standards. And they can't keep a job, doesn't have stable housing, and is an alcoholic who is also manipulative. So my friend is sticking around this person because they fear that that person will kill themselves without them.
Oh,
So I've expressed my disdain about this person they're seeing and becoming really drained by being their support person. So how do I tell my friend that I need to break from their relationship drama?
that,
Ooh, this is a
that's
hard one. I will give you the objective answer and the subjective answer. My objective answer is you need to decide whether you want to be long term there for your friend or you need time to yourself. And I don't think you can have both.
oh.
I tend to believe that once you tell someone, and maybe Corey, you have a perspective on this because we talked about it last weekend about like a situation you went through earlier. When you start telling someone you're really close to, a good friend of yours, that you don't like their partner, it's gonna get weird. It's gonna get weird, and it may get weird for a while, and you don't know when that's gonna be ending. So how it could be weird is that maybe they'll be like defensive, and you won't see eye to eye on that, and that's gonna be a rift between you two that will require some space between you two, and you don't know when that space is gonna be needed for a while. It's always gonna be weird, and so for example, so let's just say a friend of mine told me like I said something about like her husband now before when they were dating, and then like things have never been the same, and we were never as close again.
Yeah,
And
that's
or it's like someone said I never liked that person, the person that he was dating. I never said anything, and eventually things worked themselves out. And when they were finally ready, they finally broke up and were finally able to come to me and say it. I was like, I did believe the same thing, but I was here to support you. So you have to decide whether you still have the energy to support this person, your best friend, while they're going through this stuff, knowing that things will work themselves out and believing in that. And then if they don't,
Yes.
accepting that you can be okay with that to continue to be their friend. That's one
Mm.
option you have. The second option is to bring it up, and there's two ways that can go. Bringing that up can be it's going to get weird for a while, and maybe it'll work itself out, or it could be weird for a while, and you guys are never going to be the same again. I'll be honest with you. This is how it turns out.
Oh.
Um, so it's like you have to decide with you what you can take. And so my
yeah.
advice to you is to decide between those two choices. Let itself play out. Don't say anything. Let your friend go on their journey. And when they're ready to be at the same place you are with this person, if you can be there for them through it all and still have the energy to do that, then great. If it is really taxing on your mental health, you're at your capacity, you cannot do anymore, and you're very concerned and you need to take care of you, knowing that the consequence of that could be it'll be weird for a while. It's never going to be the same, or it could work itself out. You don't get to control that. Remember, it's your choice. So my advice to you is decide which choice.
And then what if I decide that I want to tell them?
If you decide
You
that
want
you
to
want to
tell
tell
them?
them,
Yeah.
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 If you decide that you want to tell
What?
them,
How do I do that?
I think you should make sure you're not in the mood where you're like sick and tired of hearing about this stuff. And then you can approach it in a way that makes them feel safe about the situation because it's already a hard situation for them. They're probably already thinking these things, but they're suppressing it because of the love or
No,
whatever
they're
story
blind. They're
they're
blind.
blind. So you have to make a place where
I
they
don't
feel
think
safe and not
they're
attacked.
suppressing it.
And I think you have to be like, hey, as a person who really, really cares about you, I've noticed a pattern that whenever he does
You're being
this,
so PC about this.
I know, but I've done the other way, and things have not been the same. It
No,
depends on
I
how much you
get
care
you.
about it,
I've done the same way.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
said something shitty. I said that I don't
And
think
things are
your
never the
girlfriend
same.
is great. And she proposed to her. And then 7 years later, they broke up. And I
It still
wanted to
hasn't been the
say
same.
how I was right. But that's a shitty thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then she
You.
said to me, "You were right."
Oh, okay. Well, then you see things worked out in
It
that,
felt
right?
so good. How can I
It
tell you how good it felt that
it
she
felt,
said to me?
but how long did that
It
how
took
long
7
had it
years.
exactly?
But what I will say that is on your, um, they had a good time in the beginning, and that I cannot set aside. They were doing well, even if I didn't like her. But they had a good time while it lasted, and relationships can be ephemeral. That they had a good time while it mattered, and afterwards, when it doesn't matter anymore, they can move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that your advice? Just like say something. What do you think, Chris?
My advice is to make a mild mention, and if they are super unavailable to hearing that, move on, pay
Yeah.
attention.
Mm.
And if they say something that, again, later on, that they're a little bit wary, hone in, be wary with
Yeah,
them.
and be wary and be available. I don't know. We kind of have the same advice. I don't know. Do we have the same advice, Corey? What do you think?
Yeah.
Kind of, but I'm only scoring your advice at this moment.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It was a question for you.
It's a question for you, technically.
Okay. But does
She's
Chris give the
she's
same
asking
advice
for
to it or
her.
different?
She's asking for her.
I have another
Yeah. Or
scenario.
do I need to pick a lane?
How would you give advice if this was your friend? What would you say? We're trying to
No, I
figure
would.
out how good of a friend you are by rating this advice
Yeah, I would say
objectively.
you got to figure out where your friend is in the process and where you are in the process. And where you are in the process personally is like, can you have any more capacity to take on any of these complaints? I'd say you should bring it up, but again, I agree with Chris. Do it in a mild manner, in a way that feels safe. Because if they're facing all these things with this, it's a very lonely and isolating place to be already. And if you're, as their one
Yeah.
place of social support, isn't there, even if they don't want to hear you, even because they know you're telling the truth, that they don't want to face the truth, that they're
Yeah.
not ready, losing you in the process is incredibly even more isolating. I had a relationship like that where he was physically abusive and it was lonely. He threatened to
Yeah.
do a lot of things to himself, and I was so glad that I had friends who just like were there to hear me listen to it without judging. And in the end, I did come to my senses, and then after that, they were like, I knew it was hard for you, and I just wanted to be there, but like I was worried. And then they checked
We're
in
also
like,
younger then.
we were younger then. um I was very, very young. I didn't know what to do, and I also think it's hard for queer people or people who have like attachment issues. That is like they can intellectually see that everything's wrong, but their body is needing this
Mhm.
love, and so like I feel that too. And then like for them to for and sometimes you have to choose whether like to give them an ultimatum of whether to choose this love that for some reason they feel like they need right now that is so bad for them, or losing your love as a friendship and a social support is a hard decision. It's a very isolating. So I think like you need to be
Yeah.
nice about it and like mild mannered,
Ugh.
mild, and then leave it alone. But then like, you got to check in with yourself because that's also taxing on you as a friend.
Okay.
That went on
Great
for a while. Sorry.
advice.
Okay.
5
It's weird
points.
hearing you talk about this because it hurts so much. Because I had a friend that I was talking about earlier. I wanted to be there for her, a lesbian relationship, and I did not like her girlfriend that she proposed to. And I wanted to be a good friend because I was like, I told her early on, I was like, oh, when are you going to break up with her? And then she proposed to her. And I felt like a shitty person, a shitty,
Uh,
shitty person. And then when they broke up, I felt in my head it vindicated. But why do I feel good being vindicated in her
Pain and suffering.
hurt and sorrow?
mm,
Yeah.
And I mean, yes, I want her to be happy. I'm not happy with her breakup. I'm happy for her path to happiness. And I think that's what we need to think
mm,
about is think about their path to happiness, not about the awfulness
Mm-hmm.
of their current situation. I
uh,
don't know.
No, I feel that. No, that's really no. I feel
that
that.
makes,
Yeah.
yeah, that's very true. Okay.
Okay.
Next.
Chris, now your turn to give advice.
Oh God, I hate this.
Okay.
Feelings. All right, go ahead.
So I've been living the suburban rural life for a bit now, and it's hard to meet the gays and build a community. This is the hotspot to be for my career. It's comfortable, expenses are minimal, but I'm bored as fuck. Do I stay and save to buy a house, or do I move YOLO and prioritize relationships?
Girl, it's exactly what I've been going through. Everyone tells me
Ooh.
that I should be like, because at my age, I should be buying a house, go to the suburbs, move to Oakland, and live my life there. And I appreciate that to a certain extent, but also I think you should dig in, dig in, put the effort
Oh.
in. I know the effort is hard. It's been hard for me. Dig in, put the effort in. Depending, God, there's so many like variations. If you're an introvert, if you're an extrovert, if you're an introvert, yeah, still dig in a little bit. Put the effort in because it will be worth it. I
So
think so.
effort into staying where they are and building relationships or moving somewhere
Yes,
else.
build the relationships because
Mm.
I had trouble building those relationships early on, but then I had to like put myself out there and I see the benefits later on. I am happy with the relationships and friends that I've made because it was a lot of work. And now at an older age, I'm in that same stage again. I feel like I'm a kid again trying to build those relationships because I'm lonely again because people are doing their own things. And I think I need to put more effort into building those relationships with the people that might help me be happy again. I love being friends with people. And I think, at minimum, put a little bit effort in. A little bit. What are you going to do in the suburbs? What are you going to do there?
So you're telling them
What's
to move?
there?
Are you telling them to move?
No, no. I'm telling. Yes, I'm telling them put. I'm telling them to put themselves out there.
Mm.
Mm.
However, whatever that means, put yourselves out there. Uh, Me as a person who doesn't always do it, I'm telling myself to put myself out there, even though I don't always do it. Put yourself out there. I'm over
Yeah.
introverts. Put yourselves out there. Somehow.
I agree with you. Like even being an extrovert, I think like an SF, like everything just felt everything came together so naturally. Me and my
Mm-hmm.
chosen family, which includes you, Chris. And then moving to LA, I realized like even when I moved to Singapore for a while, like building that community takes some time, and I was spoiled by how easy it was that I got along with you guys. That like I would judge every person I met in these new cities based on you guys, and what I realized after a while living in LA, when the pandemic ended and it opened up, and I was trying to like build my community again, is that I need to stop comparing, one, and two, there's a lot of trial and error. Will you be hanging out with people and all on YouTube they want to watch are DJ sets of really terrible DJs for 3 hours, and you sit through that and realize like, okay, this is not the group for me? Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I have been very wary about moving to other areas, about meeting a new friend group, but maybe that's the most exciting part about life is meeting a new friend group. I have been wary about living in another place like LA, New York, Bangkok, because I am scared about meeting new friends and getting close to them. Maybe that's not just advice to whoever said this, but to myself. I need to put a little bit more effort into this.
Effort,
And
and then not lowering your standards, but like not being so
no,
close
just
to things you hold
effort.
dear. Like it's okay for someone to like Natalie Portman as their favorite actress. Like it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. If someone likes Rita Ora, though, one of my very close friends loves, and I love you, David.
No,
But if
no,
someone loves
no,
Rita
no,
Ora's music,
no,
that's
Rita
also
Ora.
acceptable.
Who? Rita Ora. No.
They could be good people that connect with you on other levels of your life. Not one friend group or one friend can give that all to you. And you just like, I should approach life knowing that people are good people, I guess. Okay, never mind. So let's move on because I sound worse and worse as I keep talking.
No,
Yeah.
no. We
Of course,
sound great.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's move on.
Make friends, even if it's uncomfortable to you.
For Bao's image, we should move on. Okay, so I've rated your advice on my very specific criteria. Bao, I gave you 5 points.
Oh, she got 5 points. Out of what?
And Chris, I gave you 7 points.
Oh.
Am I a winner?
So Chris is the winner and the better friend because he gives better advice.
Yeah.
You do give good
Hey,
advice.
Bao,
Since
know
you
that
don't know each other
you
at
didn't-
all.
You didn't win
We don't.
Gap Runway, and I did. So this continues
You
the
are. You
trend
know what?
that you
You're a better
don't know
competitor.
your audience.
I
Yeah.
don't know my
My
audience.
criteria were like compassion, like is it compassionate advice? And you tied
I'm a
on that.
compassionate person.
And
I
then-
have empathy, Bao. Do you?
Keep
Capricorn?
going, you're-
Sometimes. Yeah, and so this is where like it was interest in it or like interest in like the perspective. So like if you had follow-up questions, right? Like oh, like do you have more questions? Are you thinking about the bigger picture other than what they're telling you to help like form your advice? And Chris was like, "Oh, it depends if they're an introvert or an extrovert." And Bob was just like, "Here's the advice." Right?
Yeah,
Like there was less
true.
like digging, less like conversation, less
Bao,
connection.
you found a good one. You found a good one.
Yeah. No, it's
And then
true.
the last one was actionable, which you also tied on because they were both like very actionable things. So it was just Chris's sort of like added interest that made
Yeah.
it better advice.
As the interviewer, what's your thoughts on this?
For what? Answer for what?
I mean, you said you appreciate mine, but do you have your own specific
Advice.
like way that you would advise this person on it?
Yeah. I mean, I ask a lot of questions because I'm nosy, you know, like I'm just like I want to get as much information as I can, but also like I want to know like their thought process less than like the situation. Like I'm always like not a lot of people come to me for advice, but I think
come
it's
to you for
important to
advice.
understand like their thought process and what they want and then developing your answer from there. Because like I don't think advice is always like black or white. Like sometimes
Yeah.
someone's in
No.
a different state of their life where you're just like you'd give them different advice than if they were, you know, you give a 20-year-old different advice than a 30-year-old because just of where they are. So I just try to like
I feel like this is very PC of you because I know through side conversations that you fucking tangent. You have been trying to apply to Survivor, and I feel
Oh,
like
yeah.
you are giving answers that would throw people off. You sound like
Interesting.
a competitive person that would say things that would appease people. Is that
Yeah. I am very good. I am very good at reading a room and playing the middle and
you
just being
read-
like an amicable person straight down the center.
You've said things that about me and Bao that are like so pleasurable. I'm like, we're both right. I'm like, no, we're not both right. I'm like, you can play the game.
But don't.
I
I think you
mean,
need to
I'm not
realize.
saying that
Don't.
I don't.
You and I don't. We on the other opposite end of this. He plays at the middle. We're at the edge always.
But she's your boyfriend. She should be
know.
playing on your
Well,
side.
you know, I
But she's
I
been
do
playing
think
my
I
side
do think
too.
I do think in me, like I think Cory gives great advice, and he always starts. I had to tell him to stop saying like you do what you want, but I'm like I am gonna do what I want. I want to hear what you actually really think because I value your opinion because he gives like good advice. So
Yeah. And a lot of times I'm just sort of like telling people what I think they want to hear. In like
Oh my
a
god, are
social
you just actually
situation.
a good person?
Like in a
God,
social
I hate you,
situation.
Val.
Like if a friend came to me for advice, I'd be like, here's what I really think. But like in most situations, I'm very amicable, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I tried to be amicable because of the failures I've had about saying things what I thought about
Yeah.
some people,
Hmm.
but I appreciate that about you.
I
Yeah.
try. Yeah. Those are the only two like big
Okay,
scenario
so
ones. So those are determining who wins and Chris wins. I guess Val, you're a bad friend.
Ah,
yay, Chris, you win. Sound effects, sound effects.
you're
Ding ding
Ooh.
ding.
Chris is the better
Miss Yappa,
friend.
and you're not. You're not. Once again.
Okay. Wait, were those the only two questions that we got?
No,
Or did
we
we
got
get
just like
more?
a lot of like general like some advice for. So maybe we can just like go through some of them and they'll just be like a little bit quicker. They're not as intense. Like these are the ones that
Okay,
were submitted that
Okay,
aren't
so
as like
should we have a
let's
time
go.
limit on it?
in
Let's
depth.
should we have a time limit on it? No.
Sure.
Let's just keep going. Let's just keep
Let's
going.
just keep
Let's just make
going.
them
We
quick.
can edit out
Ooh.
whatever we want.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Let's see. What can gays do to meet the right person and form a healthy relationship?
Well, I
No
don't
answer.
know the answer to that.
No answer. I don't know.
I
I don't know how I met you, Corey. Because of my
we,
past
We just
relationships, I could.
told
I
I
could.
everybody.
mean, you met
I.
online.
Yeah, we just
I've
told
been having
everyone.
trouble dating. Oof.
There's no
I
magic
think
bullet.
I come from another generation where I'm having troubles meeting people. People always think that I can meet people and I'm popular, but I don't connect
What talk?
I
as
What
often.
talk? What toxic advice can we give for this one?
Oh,
One, be
you
hot.
should swipe
Be
right
rich.
on everyone on your online apps and hope for the
Mm,
best.
Oh yeah, it's
yeah,
a numbers game. You're just like do as many as
numbers
It's
game.
it's about canvassing. You know, I honestly used to think that canvassing. Shut the fuck up. It's
It's really
canvassing.
good.
You
It's really
just
good.
gotta like just message everyone,
knock on as
and
many doors.
10% of 100 people is 10 people.
Honestly, when I was like, before I met Corey, and I was like in a okay, I'm gonna like full on focus on dating. I would have like a notes app. This is very Capricorn of me, and it would say things like, "How was your day, handsome?" And I would copy paste that into all my messages.
I will say that the word
Crazy.
handsome is dating us, and
I know
people don't like the word handsome anymore
they're
because
cuties
I
or
still
whatever.
use it, and it's not working. The only hope
Well,
is
who are you
that
trying to
people
use it
around my age
on?
range will connect with it.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you say handsome to like a 22-year-old, they're gonna be like,
No,
"What?"
and I'm
But
not
like,
trying to get it with a 22 year
yeah,
old,
I feel like
but
somebody age
people in my
appropriate is
age
like,
range are not responding
Sure,
either.
mm,
I'm not responding
They're
to
trying to fuck 22
anybody.
year olds.
At that time, I was not responding to anyone under 32 or something. So okay,
then how'd
next
you meet
question.
me?
All right, what's your other
Shut
question?
up.
Um, advice for dating after 34 for socially awkward folks. Please help this queen out.
Oh, that's me. I don't have it. I mean, I don't have any proven advice besides try harder.
That's such an extrovert thing to say. Just
Try
try
harder.
harder.
Like, talk to people. I'm like, it's not like it's doing me anything good, but try harder. Try harder.
I think my
Put the effort in.
I think my advice would be to like consider what you like to do and what you like to actually talk about, and then find spaces where like that is naturally a thing that happens, right?
But she has real,
Like
real like
I think if you
information.
I love Survivor, and if I really wanted to meet somebody, there are ways that you can do that. Like there's like viewings of Survivor in bars, and like just put yourself in places where there's opportunities to talk about things you already like talking about,
Ah,
and then you'll already have something in common with that person around you, and then go from there.
I actually love that. It's a version of try harder where it's try harder to find things that you will communicate with others more perfectly.
Yeah,
That's
or you're more
great.
comfortable with
Yeah.
talking about. Yeah. Or like doing, it doesn't even have to be like a thing that you're interested in, but like maybe it's like you wanted to learn pottery, go take a pottery class and then talk about how like difficult it is to center clay on the wheel. You know, like I don't know.
Faggot. Okay, that's cool.
You know, fine, I'll go to pottery class with you and I'll watch Survivor with you, Corey. Damn, I hate that put yourself out there is the thing, but it's sort of like,
It's a thing.
but it's
It
like be able to
is,
put
but it
be able to
sucks.
put yourself out there without your ego involved.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually
Yeah, if you get
the
rejection
the
or
edge that
yeah,
that you're saying that needs to happen.
yeah, because like the hardest thing about putting yourself out there is that your ego is involved. What if they don't like me, or like wait, I asked
Especially
a
at this
question, they didn't
age.
hear it, and they went to the bathroom in the middle of our conversation. That must mean something about me. Like it just like be able to like let that roll off and just like move through. Okay, that didn't seem to work out. Moving on to the next person. Being able to be less invested in the outcome and just like hey, let's just move on through life and figure that out is helpful. But like not the problematic thing is sort of like I just think as gay queer people we aren't taught how to date, what to look for. We all have our own issues
We're
where,
making it up as we go
and
because
as we're on
we
social
didn't
media,
have that history.
we're ingrained to what to look for in this weird way, which is like sometimes
Hmm.
like not really what we were looking for. And so some people you meet people, you match with people who are at different levels of understanding that than others, and
Mm-hmm.
it's hard. So
Okay.
I'm
Next
sorry.
one.
Okay.
We went in a different direction.
Next one. Advice for engaging or befriending a gaysian friend group when you're a racial outsider.
There's a lot going on. It. God, all I can say is it happens, and
It happens.
you gotta try harder, and we gotta
S-
try harder.
Sometimes we let one in.
Many.
I
Um,
know.
I, I think I'm a little bit on the side of like I need to put more effort in, and I appreciate everyone because I grew up in San Francisco with this sort of like everyone matters, and I like to think I'm a beyond racism, but that's stupid. But everyone needs to try harder. Everyone, both sides, needs to try harder. It's and I don't have a lot of details about that because I'm not smart. I'm just like everyone needs to try harder. That's the most articulate I can put it at the moment.
Yeah.
Both sides
My,
need
my,
to try harder.
well, I think my view of that is like, where do you want to be friends with this group? Because they're popular or because they seem to be fun? Or do you think you would actually connect with them? And my biggest advice is just like, always let things happen organically. You can try, don't try too hard. But like, it's like,
Yes.
let things
All
happen
right.
organically. Like, oh, do you want to, because that group looks like they're popular and they're going to, but like, what if you have nothing in common with them? Like, just let things happen organically. One. Two, I think like that's just maybe the person who sent this. I don't know, but like maybe it's like hard to penetrate really close Gaysian cliques, which people have gone on this podcast, Chris, and told us that like your clique is you guys roll tight and deep, and it's really hard to penetrate through that group.
But I think it's also culturally different in different regions.
It is, and also some people might who are not Asian American and look at our group and be like, wait, how did Adam get it? you know and
How
just
did
like
he
well,
get
Long
in?
but
laugh.
sort of like wait, that happened organically. It's not like we like every year we're like, hey, let's look at the quotas. Let's look at the quotas for the non-Asians, and we gotta. It's never been like an affirmative action kind of thing. It's just like, but it happened organically. Like it's hard to explain, and then sorry, Adam.
It's so weird because like when I was a kid, we earlier talked about what fucking real world. I didn't think of myself as someone who was somebody to like hang out with racial groups. But then it happened over time, and I think it's partly because of the society we live in. And
Yeah.
I like to think of myself as someone who like hangs out with everyone, but that's obviously not the truth. Obviously not the truth. You could see we're in a fucking podcast called Literally Gaysians. We're not in a podcast called Literally Everyone. And so I want to think we're on a podcast called Literally Everyone, but we're not. but we can try.
Mm.
That's the thing. We can try to be literally everyone.
It's
And
on
I
us.
think we should all put the effort into be literally everyone.
It's on us. I feel like if you asked that question to, if it was
Is
this
it?
podcast was
No.
two white gay guys answering this question and they said exactly what we said, it would be so
No, they won't
problematic.
though. They won't though. They don't get it.
How do I penetrate a group of gay white guys? And they gave exactly what we said verbatim.
You
It would be
don't.
so
You
problematic.
don't.
Try harder. What did you say?
Okay,
Try
all
hard.
right. Let me just say, one of the reasons I've been feeling super lonely recently is that people are having these house parties, and I've not been invited to them. And sometimes I see them, I'm like, oh, it's very RQPQ. I'm like, I'm not a very RQPQ. And
is
for those not in the
RQPQ?
know,
What is-
is Rice Queen and Potato Queen. And this is not hate. This is like, I'm not of that vibe. And for friends here who are of that, I'm not hating. I'm just like, I wish I was part of it because I want to be friends with everyone. I'm like a friendly person, but I'm an outsider. I'm definitely an outsider in that.
You know what
And
helps
I
you?
hate that we live in this. Yeah.
Well, no. What helps you become an outsider is when you say stuff like it's an RQPQ party.
Oh my
All right.
God.
All right.
I'm not sure if
I
that's
put
really
myself
helping you
into
on your
this.
journey of being organically friends with these people.
I
So again,
love
I think
everyone. I
the
love
advice is
everyone.
it starts with us.
Honestly,
it starts
I
with
love
us.
everyone.
It's not your fault. Whoever's asking, that's a good question, and we need to reflect on that. Yes, that's the PR.
I don't know.
Okay,
I mean,
let's
like,
reflect.
I think that that's true. Like, I think there is some like onus on like gay Asian people to like analyze that, right? Especially when you talk
Yeah.
about like anti-blackness in the Asian community and things like that.
Yes,
But
which
like,
is huge here,
yeah, I
especially
think
in
it's
San
like
Francisco.
it is definitely something that like gays need to work on, but also like I think it is also important for people who are not Asian to like understand how important gay Asian spaces are and like what that can create for somebody and like how safe that can make someone feel and like free that can make someone feel just to like deal with like I would like because like that would have been me, right? Like as the kid who was like very just like very concerned with being Asian and in like queer spaces and like how othering that felt. I think like finding a gay Asian space would have been like very good for me in my early 20s. And so I think it's important to also like respect that space, you know? Like it's like sometimes they won't invite you to it, and that's fine. Like
Yeah,
you also need to be
you
aware
don't
of their
always have
boundaries
to be
with it.
invited.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So like take the pressure off of like having to like always be a part of it, I think.
no, I get it. I mean, I spent a lot of time in this space, and it comes up, and that's why, like Val said, it's always okay to move on, but it
it's
comes
a-
up sometimes.
And let's just be honest, it's a different answer if the person asking is white, and there's a different answer if the person asking is a black or brown person.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that I'm fine with that. It's not about fairness.
If they're
And
white,
second-
leave us the fuck alone.
uh, it just, it's context is queen. That's it.
Yeah.
Context is queen.
If you're
Context
white,
should
don't
be our
bother.
language. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have tips for bottoming with hemorrhoids?
All you.
You fucking cunt.
Who are you
Yes.
talking to?
You know what? I've been working on getting
Georgia.
Nikki to do our whole health episode. Yes, I do have tips. I bottom and top, mostly top because of my inability to bottom as much as anymore. But uh, eat fiber. Fiber meaning, you know, in America, we eat so much meat. You need to add to your diet. And not just that. You need to take care of the whole. Take care of the whole with get some balms, get some to rub on your hole before and after. It's not just an after.
What do
care,
you
it's
rub before?
care. Uh, I there was this
Vicks?
East Bay, there was this East Bay
Ooh.
queer artisanal balm like girls that you rub on your hole that helps. It has like aloe, has everything to help reduce the um, blood flow through it. You don't want over blood flow because that will lead to a what's the word, hemorrhoid. Obviously, I've been drinking too much. Hemorrhoids are the cause of pushing too hard and not eating healthily. So
Mm.
eat some fiber. When you're take a shit, blow bubbles. Blow bubbles with your hole. Don't push too hard. Don't get it out. Don't get it out that hard. You know what? If it doesn't feel good, do it next time. And what I've been doing, just top. Just top. Look at her. Just top. That's what I've been doing this past few weeks. I'm like, it's not been a good few weeks, so just top.
My answer to that is treat your hemorrhoids. You don't need to. You don't need to be bottoming if you have hemorrhoids. Just like take your
Oh, yeah.
time, heal
It's definitely a
yourself,
medical
take
thing.
care of your body. Yeah.
You can even go in and get your hemorrhoids treated with minimal surgical things. Like they just rubber band it. You don't feel it. It goes out. Even though I'm not a big old bottom, I'm a big proponent of bottom health.
Oh,
Just saying.
bottom's rights.
An
Just
ally,
saying.
a bottom ally.
Bottom health. Not just an ally, a partner.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
wow.
Partner. Okay.
I bottom, I top. Versatility.
Versatility. And the other thing is that if bottoming doesn't work, you always keep Neosporin around. One. And two, there are these like suppositories. Like there's like preparation H suppositories you can put up your booty hole
Before
you
and
go to
after.
bed.
And
Yeah.
take a light Advil. Just one. 200 milligrams.
Interesting. And then there's this new one. There's this new thing. You, like search like bottom suppository or something. I don't know. It's like anal sex suppository on Amazon.
I think I'm aging out of this. Go on.
I don't know, Corey. Can I tell this story because it does involve intimate details of our sexual experiences?
Sure.
You remember when? Are you sure?
Go on.
I don't know
Don't
what you're
ask
gonna
her.
say.
Don't ask her. Just
Okay,
keep
we
going.
can edit it. We can edit it out if we. No, you don't remember when I was bleeding a lot?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I did research. Yeah. So I remember like there was the things I know that to go to, like find the suppository, Neosporin and all that. And then I went on this like rabbit hole, like researching things that are available now on Reddit and stuff like that. And one of the things they did recommend is there's this one suppository
Those are
that
fissures. Anal
you can.
fissures.
Yeah, I'm getting fissures. So these are not hemorrhoids.
That's different.
It addresses the bleeding.
Still
and there's
needs
this new
care.
suppository on Amazon where it is like turmeric and all these anti-inflammatory kind of things for that part of the skin
Mhm. I've
that you
done
have
it.
to freeze actually, and then like so it's that.
I love seeing younger people go through these things that I've gone through.
It's a rite of passage.
Yeah, and you had to do it.
All right, last one. Advice
she
on
got
whether
more.
or not to get my anal hair lasered off or not.
Do it.
Just do it if you can afford it.
Why
do
not?
it.
If you love it, do it.
Do it.
Damn, there you go. Do it.
That was quick. Do it if you want to do it.
I have
if you
a
can afford
friend.
it. I wish I could
Yeah.
afford it. I mean,
Yeah, I wish I could afford it. If I could like had the patience for it and could make the time for it, I would do it. I have a friend who like literally every month I talk to him has to bring up the fact that it's all lasered off.
no,
and if you're listening,
it makes
you know who
feel
you are.
good, do it.
Do it. Yeah, if
It's
you can afford
just-
it, do it.
I think it coincides with this whole idea of like plastic surgery and having this like negative connotation around it. If it makes you feel good, do whatever you want. Pink that hole, laser that hair off if you want. Do whatever makes you feel good for you, but don't do it for somebody else. That's all I'll say. Don't do it because somebody tells you to do it. do it because
You
you
want to
feel
do it.
smooth and real.
Mm.
That sounds so stupid. I sound so stupid saying that.
No, you sound very supportive. And for me, it's like I don't care whether the hole is smooth or hairy, but do what you want. I think if I was with you in person, the thing I would ask you is, why not?
I mean,
Like,
I love a good smooth
why are you bringing up
hole.
this question? Are you ashamed of that fact that you want to get it? Do you think
And
it's
maybe they are.
like
I
maybe they are,
think
but
that
it's like
is.
if you really want it, just get it.
Outside, I think outside of some big cities like LA, SF, New York, there is a this idea that smoothing your hole is a big deal. But you know what?
Interesting. Yeah.
Do what makes you feel
Yeah.
amazing.
I mean, I had the thought of like bleaching my hole before because you know what contributes to that when you watch too much OnlyFans or too much porn and you're like, oh my god, my body does
Yeah.
not look like that, you know,
Mm.
and like yeah, and people like Botox in their hole too sometimes now, like those porn stars, and I'm like, wow, that looks like so like nice. Mine looks like a jungle or something, you know. Wow, we've been recording for a while. It
That's so
is
long. I'm so
okay.
sorry to
Wait,
everyone
let me
listening.
check in. Earlier in this episode, I asked you, don't you, from a level 1 to 10, being 10 the drunkest, what level you were at? You said a 6. What level are you at now?
Okay, I kept drinking. I'm sorry. I'm not like 7, 8 now. I
Uh,
kept drinking, and I'm gonna get more
I,
drinks.
I'm gonna be
But I'm not
vulnerable.
slurring, am I?
No, you're not slurring.
Okay, good.
Um,
You're welcome. You're
but
welcome.
I'll be honest and vulnerable. This bottle was full when we started.
That white wine. All right, I'm
Yeah.
gonna get
Damn.
more. I'm gonna get more.
All right. So a perfect segue into our
Subway.
last. Wait.
Segue.
No, please, like, please be easy. Let me pull it up. A perfect. Wait. Poor Cory is watching this hot mess happen. A perfect segue, even though none of you can read it because of my writing. A perfect segue into our favorite segment of each episode, the Be Real segment, and the last Be Real of this season before we take a break. And this is the segment of every episode where we just get real about whatever's on our hearts, minds, and holes. And don't you? I would like you to do the honors of our last
Oh, you want
Be
me to start?
Real of the season. So it's time for you to be real.
Okay, so I was thinking about this ahead of time, and at first, my Be Real was going to be like, I hate that this was our shtick. I hate talking about my feelings. And that you forced me to do it. But you know what? That's the best part
You're
of
good at
what
it.
we do.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. No, it makes me
That's your Be Real. You
realize
hate
that
this session.
yeah, I don't love it all the time, but I appreciate it in the long run because it's not something that even when we kiki during our, you know, Molly talks, that I'm more of a listener during our Molly talks than a sharer. If you might remember sometimes that I might respond to people and I will talk about light things that I'm going through, but I'm not always the most sharing person. And I don't think that is a good or bad thing. It just is a thing that I need practice with. And given that,
You need practice.
Be real.
You've done this 32 times
But you know,
to the
some of them
public.
are about my awful mother, and some of them are light. Some of them are
Yeah.
light. You know, I still like have like a crazy mother, but I'm not gonna subject people through that. And my Be Real today is that, you know, I've been saying that how much I've been single and trying to date. And my biggest issue right now is that trying to date in this newfound issue that I can't breathe when I'm sleeping, that I need a CPAP, is so ugly. So ugly that I don't want to invite people over because I don't want to put the CPAP on my face. And it sounds so superficial, but it's ugly. It's awful. I could die in the middle of the night because I don't get enough oxygen. But I also want to date somebody and have them over. How unhot that is to put. I sound like the man from Batman with. I just can't. I can't. It's so ugly. I had this guy that I'm like kind of like am into. We're not dating. He just stayed over at my place in my bed. We're not even dating. But I wouldn't put on my CPAP because it was so ugly. That's my be real. I hate my CPAP. I hate it. And trying to meet new people, I might pass out and die when you sleep over because I won't put it on.
But
yeah, but what?
I mean, I guess the thing for me is just like,
Yeah?
if you're going for dating, like if you're going for hooking up, I understand. But if you're going for dating, that person's gonna have to
if I'm
see it
hooking up,
eventually.
they're going home. Yes.
But like, yeah, but so like if it's somebody that you are potentially going to be in a long-term relationship with for, they're going to see it eventually. So if that's a deal breaker, you should know
she's so
earlier.
nice. Yeah, it's
No,
great.
it's not so
Of
nice.
course.
It's just sort of like, in the end, it's just a CPAP machine. It's not that big. Honestly,
Yeah.
like I hate to minimize what you feel, but like objectively,
It's
a CPAP.
the
Honestly, okay.
ugliest thing in the
Let me give you
world.
let me give you one data point. My friend is like a really hot go-go dancer, OnlyFans person, really like objectively hot person who can make money from how hot he is. He's dating this guy, and he just got engaged to him actually this weekend.
Yeah.
And once in every few weeks, he would just post a photo of his partner sleeping with a CPAP. Where'd you go? Can you hear me? Where did you fucking go?
He's just like, I'm over this
I
conversation.
can't hear you actually.
Really doesn't like sharing. Oh,
Oh.
me?
I can't hear, don't you?
I can hear you.
Where'd you go?
Who wants to date this person? Who wants to date this person?
Well, I don't know. They should slide in your DMs if they see it now.
Don't ya, babe? There's someone there. Okay, how about we use another example?
From Batman. I'm Bane from Batman.
When I first started dating Cory, I didn't want to stay over because I didn't want to take my contacts off for him to see how actually thick my actual glasses are. Remember that, Cory?
Yeah, it was dumb.
It was dumb.
It was so dumb.
I mean, he still raised me for it, but
I look like Bane from Batman.
And some people love that.
You think that.
I'm going to.
You think that. That's you projecting it on the other person. That's you think that. And then,
But look at this.
even when I got over the glasses thing, you know how mortifying it is to be 7 months into your relationship, and then you wake up, and then your boyfriend tells you like, "You farted so much last night." Mortifying. Absolutely mortifying. And then,
Well, then
9
don't
months
fart
later,
that
say,
much.
9 months later, it'd be like, "You're quite farty and sleep." I'm like, there's always gonna be something, bitch. And that person had, and we're human, and you need it, and it's fine. And again, I see this like really hot person dating this honestly not very hot person, and just posting and lovingly about the CPAP. If you can't be that vulnerable, and being intimacy is about being vulnerable, all that it's not about Instagram. It's vulnerable about this shit.
I'll try.
Okay, now take it off. It
Or
looks
make it
beautiful on you.
I'm trying.
Make it your profile photo on the apps.
Well, yeah.
Get it
that's
out of the
been
way.
One of the things I've been thinking about a lot lately because, if somebody stays over, I mean, I'm not putting it on the first couple nights, but it is something I think about a lot as a person of age, that it's hard to date and sleep with people having a fucking mask on your face in the middle of the night. That's might be real. I I feel self conscious. Whether or not I should be, I feel it. I feel it. And it's ugly.
Yes. Look, I don't want to minimize your feelings. I can see that that is something that's very real for you. But as a callback to a previous piece of advice that someone was asking for earlier in this episode, I feel like this is the third time on this podcast that this has been your Be Real.
Come up. Well,
I have noticed a pattern that
let me just say, it's gotten worse.
I have not that you still feel this intense shame about the CPAP. And the last time you brought it up was probably in a year ago, where we launched season 2 with Kim, because you guys talked
Oh my
about
God.
demystifying CPAP shame.
I have such bad memory. I don't remember this. Oh God.
No, exactly. That's why I think
I
you
have
would rather
problems.
hear people laugh at your jokes than remember them. Because I don't think you remember what
Yeah.
you say. Yeah, I would say like it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal, but I know that doesn't like feel like anything right now. But everyone has something. I fart in my sleep and I look like a fucking dork with my humongous bifocals.
Yeah.
Correct.
What I think I'm hearing is that I need to date people around my age that are very familiar with this life situation.
Wait,
Yeah.
like you said, try harder. Find a CPAP.
Try harder.
Yeah,
Queer
go
CPAP
find a
group.
CPAP twins. CPAP twins.
You'd be CPAP twin boyfriends.
What about you, Cory?
Ooh, as her guest.
What's making you like sit in your corner like overthinking lately?
So like this actually came up earlier in this podcast, and it's like now going to be the thing that I'm going to sit in a corner and think about. But it's sort of like, as a person who doesn't drink or like just hasn't ever drank in my life, I've never been in spaces where people drink or then do drugs because I just like didn't go to parties, I didn't go to bars, so I was never in like drug or alcohol spaces. And so I never had like a very like strong friend, like gay or queer friend group that like it was just harder to like meet a group of queer people, right? When you're not going to a queer space. Um, and so I've never really had that, and I've never had the interest in it being all white either. And so it wasn't until like dating Bao that I've been able to be in these like multiple spaces that are just like a bunch of queer Asian people, um, that feels like non-judgmental, also non like cruisy. You know, it's like you and your friends in SF, you're like all family, and like I got to see that on your
We're
birthday.
old.
Yeah, but like it's like cool and something that I've never had and something that you all have
Yeah.
had for so long. And I think like the one thing that's gonna like keep me up at night is sort of like the anxious brain of what it would have been if I had found it earlier.
Mm.
And then the other part that's going to keep me up is what if it goes away, right? Like, because like I
Ah.
entered these spaces through Bao and like through dating, and like we've been together for like near a year now, so like I feel very confident about it. But like I now will have the fear that that will go away, that that opportunity will go away, um, because I'm
I don't
very
think you
grateful
should think
for it.
that.
Yeah, I
It's a
know,
good
but
Be
like
Real.
I
that's my
get the
anxious
feeling though.
brain.
I
Yeah, it's like the
appreciate
anxious
what you're
feeling
feeling.
about it. But like I just like really appreciate it. And I think it's like really cool that these spaces exist and that like now I have like found them and have access to them. And so I think like that gratitude also then like the other side of that coin is like the fear that it'll go away. Um, and then also the regret of not having found it sooner. But I mean, like everything
No,
happens in
but
the way that it
can I
happens,
also say
and
that
I feel great.
you've also brought Bao into that space, that like non-drinking space? Because let me just say, Bao turned me into an alcoholic when I was younger.
You
Don't
just
blame
drank
I'm
that
just
whole
the
bottle of
saying.
obvious,
wine.
bitch.
So I actually did not drink until I turned 30. I was not a drinker. It was in your space. I and I want to identify with you because I didn't drink because I was scared of it, and I also had like issues with drinking. And for most 20-year-olds, queer 20-year-olds, they drank, and I was super against it. And
Mm.
when I turned 30 on my 30th birthday, I had this moment like, oh, why not? Let's do this. And I got into this. So most people understand me as this partying, like queer person, but I had a very long period of my youth not in that life, and I really enjoyed it. And I don't look at it in the sense of like, oh, I missed out. I
Yeah.
really appreciated it. And partly because it really works in our favor for our skin youthfulness. But it's not all that. It's fine. And, now I consider myself an alcoholic, but I miss not being an alcoholic because there are benefits to it that are beyond just like health benefits. I appreciate that you don't drink for whatever reason it is. I want to appreciate both my non-drinking and my drinking aspects of my life. You shouldn't feel. Oh, by the way, I love that you are putting up with us.
No, it's
You're putting
great.
up with you're putting up with us, and I'm happy that you are. I'll put it that way. You're putting up with us, and I think you are
Thanks.
better for it.
Yeah, I do too.
We're the outsiders, not you.
Yeah, and I think, well, I mean, I want to recognize that that's a real thing, or that's like very real. I can't predict the future, but I hope we stay together forever. And also, um, you should feel good in the fact that my ex hurt me a lot. We did it, but he still got the community in the end, even though we broke up. Like, I'm not petty that way, unless you did something really wrong. He did something pretty wrong, or we each did something pretty wrong to each other. But I could still get over it. So like maybe you can like rest assured knowing that like I may be petty on some things, but like that part I know is not like something I'm precious about because I think community is so important. Um, that losing that is incredibly isolating, and I would never. I don't know. Never is a strong word, but like I don't think I'd be the person to let that happen to you. So that's one. And now that I've said it on a podcast, this is gonna be I'm gonna be
And
holding
we.
myself up.
Oh, I'm
That's
gonna
all
put
I
this as
did
a
it
we.
for. That's what I was waiting for, just to clip that,
Fucking
show it to my lawyer.
Yeah.
Cory did express some of this to me, not like that he's afraid of losing it, but that like, oh, he never really felt this feeling. Um, especially after my birthday when he met you guys, like in a group setting in this way where everyone's
Yeah.
just like
Hmm.
not in this caricature of what you think like a gay friend group would be. We were just like
Caricature.
stupid, silly addicts. And then when he told me like, oh, this is a feeling, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I do love those fucking bitches.
Let
They're
me
not
just say,
that
Cory,
bad.
messy people can be cool too.
Yeah, they're the
I'm
coolest.
messy,
Oh.
but I'm gonna take
I'm the
care of you.
prude.
I'm gonna take care of you, though.
You're the prude, but you know, we've gotten you to loosen up on some things.
See,
But
I used to be that prude, and I'm not saying that I am better than that now. I just Bao ruined me. When I met Bao,
oh,
Bao is
stop.
part
Be
of the
accountable
reason.
for your own actions, bitch.
Bao is part of why I'm an alcoholic. I'm just saying.
That's a good segue into my Be Real.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Okay.
My
so,
Be Real is
Sagwai.
Seguye. You know, it is in the moment I'm processing it. So Cory has been sick for a week. This is gonna be very vulnerable.
Okay.
And so if he wasn't sick, I think we would be hanging out like a couple of times this week. So he wasn't available for me to hang out with. And so I was left with work and then like a lot of free time. And then I realized in that free time I started getting cravings for certain things. One, not really K, but like, for example, Thursday night I had like a rough week at work, and then I went and bought a vape, and I have not bought a vape in a while. And I vaped for 2 days, and I was like, "This is not great." So I just like gave it to my friend who vapes, and then I drank more, and then it made me realize like, did you just grab your vape when I said
You reminded me.
you fucking?
I don't even smoke. I don't even smoke. but you
I don't think I can even show that.
Oh.
I don't think I can even show that. Dude, I think I need to pixelate that, bitch. Okay. On a seriouser note, I just realized that not the only reason, but a lot of the reason why I used to like fill my time up with like alcohol and drugs was because of this like like loneliness, and I wasn't ready to date. I didn't believe I could date at the time, and then it made me realize like, oh, do I have like a health? This is really feel vulnerable. I'm sorry, Cory, but like when I dated Cory, was he a good influence on me? Oh, hey, Nelson is. Is he a good influence on me because he doesn't drink, and so like I am able to do other things, or have I relied on Cory to be like a stopgap between like doing all these things?
Like he held you up in a sense.
Yeah.
Oh.
One big reason in the past where like I would fill my time up with like doing drugs and alcohol and vaping by myself was because I was just lonely. And then it just like it was hard to realize like that was what was going on just as my boyfriend was sick for 7 days. It was an ugly thing to realize. I was ashamed of it. I think I'm gonna try to do what I did last year, which is like be more intentional with like all that use. You know, and the vaping I had quit, right? And then I think when we were in PV and it was like around me all the time, I picked up again. And when I got back to LA, like I didn't vape anymore, but as Cory knows, I still had these like nicotine, like these mints that are meant for you to quit nicotine. But then I had those regularly. Like,
can I tell you a weird random story back in the day?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
we were on our way to the end up, and you were trying to quit smoking, and you gave me nicotine gum, and I took it. And I was so scared that I was going to get addicted to smoking. Because I grew up with a lot of smoking because of my mom. She smoked. She didn't even stop smoking when she was pregnant with me. And I knew that I would probably be susceptible. But I took the gum thinking, all right, I'm going to start smoking. I didn't. I don't enjoy it, but I thought that, and I was going to blame you, but I didn't, and I still blame you. But it was hilarious. It was hilarious that I thought
you'll blame me for everything.
You were gonna get me into smoking because of your nicotine gum.
I know you just want to blame me for everything. You don't want to take any accountability for your own actions. But
because you're Vietnamese.
I know Vietnamese people are always easy to blame, especially for Chinese people, bitch. But I will say, you know, it brought up like there's always like I think some years I'm doing good and some months I'm doing well, and then other months I realized like, oh, I'm still in this constant negotiation of like the balance that I could have in my life with drugs and alcohol present. And I count nicotine in that. And for me, when I talk about this, sometimes I feel as if I'm like coming off like I'm judging other people who do more than me. And for me, it's like
no, it's just
not.
It's just
it's
you.
Not, it's not that. It's just about it's about how it feels for me. It doesn't feel great, and also I do think when I was in my worst, I did it alone more than a lot of my friends did. And so I'm like this week with the change in the routine and scenery, I realized like those feelings were coming up again. I did act on some of the cravings. I'm not too proud of it. I'm trying to be like nicer to myself about it, but at the same time, I'm like, oh god, I guess like, you know, I do have like a little bit of a substance abuse brain, and that it never really leaves you. So it's hard to notice, but I did give my vape away, and I do really want to run it right now after I saw that you took it, but.
I'm so sorry.
No.
I'm so sorry. It was just a joke.
I will be accountable for my own actions and cravings. I'm not going to blame you. It's a good space for us to end the episode, the last episode of the season.
The season.
Cory,
I am so
Yes.
happy, Cory, that you put up with us.
I'm happy to be here. It's been great.
can we talk about how fun that game was? He caused some chaos.
Okay, I have been watching The Traitors, and I felt like you were Alan Cummings pitting Bao and me against each other. You weren't just asking questions. You were
Exposing how you don't actually know each other.
fucking shit up between
I'm
us.
exposing the fraud that is this podcast. You guys don't even like
But you
each
know
other.
what? I'm gonna say that me and Bao won because I still love Bao and we're friends. Me and Bao are Carolyn and what's her name?
Gabby?
Gabby. Gabby?
Mm.
We are
Call me-
the
if you're gonna call me Danielle, that's also accurate.
Danielle.
But they're
You're
they're
Danielle.
not friends. But they're not friends.
They're friends now.
And you won this game so much. Like I
I-
hope that Carolyn will win.
That's
You know,
so you're the Carolyn.
I'm definitely the Carolyn.
I'm definitely
No,
the Danielle.
I'm what is it? I'm Tom Sandoval. I don't know what's happening, but I'm happy to be here. I'm very happy to be here.
And all right, you know where to catch us on TikTok and Instagram and Patreon. We're gonna take a couple of weeks off to think about the next season. Hopefully,
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
gonna come back
yep.
at you, and you'll know with a very exciting season premiere. Hopefully, a refresh of the podcast. But in the meantime, bye. Thank you, Cory.
Bye.